Hopefully everybody's feeling the same type of hurt. And, you know, it has to be fixed. I have to be better. Kevin has to be better. Brad has to be better. Coach has to be better. If we're the leaders of the team, we can't be out there unprepared.
Yeah, we could be better in all areas. It's hard to pinpoint just one thing right now. I mean, when you reflect back on the season, I think that, like I've been saying, we just were inconsistent with our play and the style of play that we wanted. But that's as far as I'll go. I think guys will dig deep this summer, work on what they need to work on individually.
No worse professional feeling in the world than getting swept in NBA playoffs. I've never been a part of it. I feel pretty low right now. I want to speak to our fans directly and say, I share your passion. I'm as disappointed as y'all are. But, we got beat by a better team.
We got beat by a better team. Okay, Stephen A., let's break this down. How damaging is this sweep to KD's legacy in this Suns Big Three squad?
I think it's devastating. I really, really do. I mean, I think that when you look at Kevin Durant, he's one of the greatest players in the world. And we barely talk about him in a positive standpoint. We recognize the fact that he's a great, great player and a great scorer and a two-time champion and a two-time NBA Finals MVP. And we get that. And a really good dude, by the way. The flip side to it, however, is that when we talk about Jokic even, when we talk about LeBron, when we talk about Steph Curry, who's Kevin Durant helped to two of the four titles that he has, all right? We just don't talk about Kevin Durant in the same light. And the bottom line is, Shannon, it's not because of basketball. It's because of his decisions. When you are in Oklahoma City and you're up 3-1 and you lose that lead and you ultimately lose that series to the Golden State Warriors, only to turn around and join them a month later, okay, that's a blemish. We were told that it was about Russell Westbrook, but then later on we learned it was about Sam Presti and how you didn't necessarily particularly like getting along with him. Then you're in Golden State and you're winning championships, and somehow, some way, people were saying you were never happy. Then you decide to depart from the great Steph Curry to join Kyrie Irving. And there's a whole bunch of stuff that goes on in Brooklyn that ends up through no fault of KD's, but it ends up being an absolute disaster where you only got out of the first round one time. And so you look at it from that standpoint. Then you go to Phoenix. And when you go to Phoenix, okay, you've lost your last 6 playoff games. You're 6-9 overall in playoff games. People are looking at the Phoenix Suns and saying, y'all wouldn't have gotten to the second round last year if Kawhi Leonard hadn't gotten hurt, because he had dropped 38 on y'all in the game 2, and the next thing you know, he couldn't play the rest of the series. So they looked at it from that standpoint, okay? And so then you hear this year, he's not happy with how he's being used. You got a head coach in Frank Vogel, who the Phoenix Suns, clearly, that was not their first choice. They wanted Ty Lue, Shannon. It's just that they couldn't get Ty Lue because the Clippers weren't going to let him get away. So they ended up settling on Frank Vogel. That hasn't worked out. You got Bradley Beal. We know that hasn't worked out. He came from the Washington Wizards and ended up looking like a Washington Wizard when it counted most, which was in the playoffs. So that didn't bode well for you. We're looking at a guy in CP3 that was your floor general and your point guard, which is something you clearly needed. But y'all felt y'all didn't need it. So y'all used Bradley Beal to replace him. DeAndre Ayton was a headache. He was a problem. You used that, and you replace him with Nurkic. Monty Williams wasn't the right guy for Ishbia, who paid a whole bunch of money for them, and is about to pay about $260 million because he's touching the second apron of that luxury tax threshold. So you got all of that going on, right? And you don't have Monty Williams. You didn't get Ty Lue. You got Frank Vogel. The Phoenix Suns right now are a mess, and they just got embarrassed. And there's no way that you can bring this back. It ain't circling that block. You can't do that. You got to go in a different direction, okay? Which means the likelihood is that you're going to have to move Kevin Durant in order to acquire the assets you need to move forward.
All the greats have been swept. Magic got swept numerous times. Shaq, LeBron, Kareem, Jordan.
Best of 3, never best of 7, but go ahead.
Here's the thing. Magic got swept in the NBA Finals.
No, I said Jordan.
Oh, okay. But he got swept.
Yes.
So back then, because, you and I old enough to remember, they used to play best 2 out of 3. They played 3 out of 5.
3 out of 5, yep.
No, in the first round was 2 out of 3. Second round was 3 out of 5. You only got to 7, best of 7 in the finals, conference finals, and the NBA finals. And your guy got swept back to back.
He got swept back to back.
Back to back,
3-0 to Larry Bird, Boston. Larry Bird, McHale, Parrish, Dennis Johnson, and those boys.
Molly.
That's who
Yes,
swept
sir.
them.
Molly.
Okay,
Yes.
in his first 2 years in the league.
Is it my turn?
Go
I
ahead.
could have sworn.
My bad.
I thought it was my turn.
My bad.
Yeah.
My bad.
I'm sorry.
If Kevin Durant were to win,
Right.
we're never going to forget that he got swept.
Right.
But if he doesn't win another title, this is what they're going to remember. Because Magic got swept, and he came back and he won 3 more titles. People don't really remember or don't think about it in that aspect. You say he went to Golden State because he wasn't happy in OKC and he left. The thing I tell people about happiness is not something that you find. Happiness is something you create. If Kevin Durant can create a self-happiness, what is it that he's seeking? He's been regarded as one of the great players in NBA history. He's been regarded as, for the longest time, as the first or second best. Most people would refer to LeBron, but there was a time that there was an argument could be made that he was the best player in the NBA.
Yes. I used to make them.
He wanted a title. He went and got titles, but he wasn't happy because he was Johnny Gill in New Edition. You see, the difference was Johnny Gill, he came...
Tito with the Jackson 5.
No, but see, Tito was the original family member. Johnny Gill, he wasn't born in Roxbury, Boston.
That's fair.
So that, even though he could out-sing them all, Bobby, Ronnie, Ricky, and Mike, Johnny Gill could out-sing them all.
That's right.
You didn't grow up with us. So he was never going to be fully embraced like those original cast members, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, Steph Curry. Okay, that whatever the case may be, he wanted to leave. Hey, that's my right. It is his right. He was a free agent. He fulfilled his obligation. He went to Brooklyn. He didn't want to go to the Knicks. He said he didn't want to go to the Knicks. He went to Brooklyn. For whatever reason, it didn't work out there. For whatever reason, I don't know, Stephen A. Maybe you know, you can speak to that. Yeah. He wanted to go to Phoenix. They did him a solid when they could have traded him anywhere to somewhere that gave him more assets. They put him where he wanted to be. He said he wanted to be with CP3, and he wanted to be with Book. Now, what is it now? What is it now? You leave OKC to go to Golden State. You leave Golden State to go to Brooklyn. You leave Brooklyn to go to Phoenix. What's the next move?
Only thing that could be answered, listen, there's no team that wouldn't want Kevin Durant.
For sure.
As far as I'm concerned, if I'm the Lakers and I get my hands on Kevin Durant to join LeBron and AD, I'd do my heartbeat. Oh, my Lord. Oh, my Lord. I don't even want to think about I don't even want to think about that. It'd be over. It'd be no question, okay? I got that part, okay? But the bottom line is this. When you talk about Kevin Durant, you certainly never talk about his character. There's nothing
nothing to impugn
there. There's nothing to impugn about his game either because the brother's game is pure. You do have a slight concern. You perpetually don't seem happy.
Yes.
And as a result, dare I say that might impede one's ability to lead? And as a result, you end up getting results like this. Because let me tell you something, and this is just me. It's just a thought that I had, just thinking about the subject you brought up, Shannon, because nobody has brought this up. Because we talk about there's different ways to lead and stuff like that. You know, you might get in somebody's face, I might get in somebody's face, somebody else might not do that.
Right.
You said, we got all of that, right? But you want me to tell you where everybody becomes like you describe yourself, or how I would describe myself, or how a Jordan would describe? You want me to tell you when everybody gets like that? When somebody is threatening your happiness.
Right, for sure.
Because it's like, wait a minute, I'm in a good spot here. You will not mess this up.
Right.
Right? But if you are perpetually someplace where you could take it or leave it, where you just there to do the job.
Yeah.
Where you go, I'm gonna play ball, I'm gonna do my thing, but then after that, I'm gonna bounce, right? Because it really don't matter. I'm just here to do my job and I want to go home. When that's your attitude, then you're not going to extend yourself but so much to galvanize the troops and make sure you get max production out of everybody else because your happiness is not dependent on it. Am I making sense?
You make perfect sense.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I just suspected is all I'm trying to say.
But if Kevin Durant, and I think a lot of people are going to agree with me.
Okay.
If Kevin Durant were to leave Phoenix, people are going to say Kevin Durant keeps running from the grind. Because everywhere he's been, with the exception of Golden State, it was a grind.
Okay.
OKC was a grind because he was going to have to get over Golden State. He joined Golden State that was smooth sailing. You win in 67, 68 games a season. You go to Brooklyn, it starts to become, oh, it's another grind. Here come Boston, and you got Milwaukee. That's a grind. In Phoenix, you got these young guns. You got OKC. You got Ant-Man. You got the Nuggets. So now it's going to start to look, if he were to leave, and it might not be, but I'm saying perception is a person's reality. And sometimes reality is not always
Last
true.
comment, Molly, Shannon.
Yeah.
This is what we have to acknowledge. It is incredibly sad that we have to have the kind of discussion that we're having about Kevin Durant, considering how great and how phenomenal
He's sensational.
this dude is. It's a damn shame that anybody in any basketball platform has to have this conversation. But it's a byproduct of him continuously finding himself in situations where people are looking at him and saying he is not happy. He doesn't see, I'm telling you right now, there's numerous executives I've spoken to. The one thing they say religiously, the guy never seems happy. That's what they say. He never seems happy.
Got it all.
Wanna try to boast at what I look like. Keep them down, try to wear, I pull up all brains. Jimmy with the heat, I'm on fire. It's NBA over here,